Alright, suppose y is inversely proportional to the square of x. Alright, so proportional, so it means inversely, so it means y is equal to k over x. But it says the square of x, so it's x squared. If x is 2, then y is 4. We have to solve for k. So y is 4 is equal to k over 2 squared, which is just 4. So this becomes 4 is equal to k over 4. Cross multiply, 16 is equal to k. So k is 16. U is jointly proportional to v and w. Alright, so u is equal to k v w. So now you plug in everything. 4 is equal to 8 times 8 is 64, so 64k. So we solve for k. 4 over 64 is equal to k, which in turn is 1 over 16. Alright, write the graph of the function. Alright, so this one's a little bit tricky, kind of, sort of. Alright, so we know this is 1 over x, right? That's a graph of 1 over x. Alright, so now it's shifted down and to the right. Alright, so 1 over x, it starts at 0. So the vertical asymptote is at 1, right? So we know the bottom is going to be x minus 1 because it goes to the right, so we go x minus 1. And then the horizontal asymptote is at negative 2. So it went down to, so we say minus 2. So that's pretty much it. That's the answer. Alright, it says write the graph for the function for this one. Alright, so we know this is absolute value. The regular absolute value looks like this. So first thing, it's flipped upside down. So we know it's going to be negative the absolute value. Alright, then it's also moved 1, 2, 3 spaces. It's moved 3 spaces to the right. So we're going to subtract 3. Right, so now it's up 2. So the plus 2 goes on the outside. So this is the new equation. Absolute value of x minus 3, the negative absolute value of x minus 3 plus 2. So it went up. It's reflected, so we put a negative sign. It's moved to the right 3 spaces, so minus 3, and moved up 2 spaces, plus 2. Alright, find the vertex. Vertex is given by negative b over 2a, where this is your a, that's your b, and that's your c. So you just plug in. So it's 8, negative 8 divided by 2 times 4, which is negative 8 divided by 8, which is negative 1. Okay, so this is our vertex. So, and as you see, a is positive, so you know it's going to be like this. So you know it's going to give you a minimum. So you plug in negative 1 to your equation. 4 times negative 1 squared plus 8 times negative 1 plus 17. Negative 1 squared is 4. 4 minus 8 plus 17. Negative 4 plus 17 is 13. So the minimum is 13. Alright. Alright, it's the same thing for number 6. That's your A, that's your B, and that's your C. Alright. So again, negative B over 2A. So it's negative 22 divided by 2 times negative 1 gives you 20. Negative 22 over negative 2, which gives you 11. So our vertex is 11. Yeah, 11. So the minimum, so this one is, so it's negative, so it's going to be our maximum. So you plug in 11 to the equation. Negative 11 squared plus 22 times 11 minus 127. It's negative 121 plus 242 minus 127. I don't have a calculator, but you can do that. So this also goes, oh, I just forgot to say number 5. So number 5, sorry. So this is our vertex. This is our x point, and this is going to be our y point. So our vertex is negative 1, comma 13. And for this one, our vertex is 11, comma whatever that is. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so it says f of g. So it means our g is going to go inside our f. So wherever we see an x, our g is going to go in for the x. So it's going to be 3 times x squared minus 2 minus 5. So So distribute everything out. 3x squared minus 6 minus 5. Add like items, so it's negative. As it's 3x squared minus 11. Alright, the same thing goes for this one. So FRG and then f of g of 3. But this time, g of 3 goes inside for our f. So first thing, we gotta solve for g of 3. So g of 3 is, alright, so pretty much it's going to be this, f of g of 3. So we plug in 3 in our g. Whatever answer we get there, we plug it in for our f. So g of 3 is equal to 4 times 3 minus 7. So it's 12 minus 7, which is 5. So now we go f of 5. Since g of 3 was 5, we gotta do f of 5. So plug in 5 to your f of x. So it's 5 squared plus 2 times 5 minus 3. 25 plus 10 minus 3 is 30. So that's 35. That's 32. So the answer f of g of 3 is 32. Alright, next. G of f of negative 1. So again, we find f of negative 1. Plug in negative 1 for your f. Whatever you get there, plug it in for your g. So plug in negative 1. Negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 minus 3. So that's 1 minus 2 minus 3. That gives you 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. So we plug in negative 4 now. G of negative 4. 4 times negative 4 minus 7. Negative 16 minus 7 is negative 23. So your final answer is negative 23. Alright. Find the zeros. Alright, to find zeros, obviously set this equal to 0. Alright. So now, in order for it to be 0, only one of these has to be 0. So we have to solve for it. So x minus 4 cubed is equal to 0. And x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 0. Alright, so this one's easy. Cube, take it out, and x minus 4, so x is equal to 4. Alright, this one you factor out. It can be x plus 2, x minus 1. So then you factor, so it's x plus 2 is equal to 0, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to 1. So our zeros are negative 2, 1, and 4. Alright, do the same thing here. Find the zeros. It's x plus 1 squared, x plus 5 squared. So x plus 1 is equal to 0, and x plus 5 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 1, x is equal to negative 5. Alright, to graph this one. Alright, so our zeros are at x is equal to negative 5, x is equal to negative 1, and x is equal to negative 3. Alright, so we need negative 5, negative 1, negative 3, negative 5. Okay. So we pick a number like negative 10. So that gives you negative, negative, and a positive. Right, so we plug it in here. Negative 15 times negative 15 cubed. So negative cubed is still negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. And a positive times a negative squared, which is a positive, is positive. So everything left of negative 5 is going to be all the way up here. Alright, so it's x plus 5. Since x plus 5 is like a straight line, so it's pretty much a straight line all the way down to some point, and it goes back up to a 3. Sorry, gotta fix this. So then it goes back up to 3. It's not really pretty. Alright, so now at 3 it's 0. And then it looks, so it's a parabola. So it's a positive parabola, so it's going to be like this. Then a negative 1, it's cubic, so it's going to look like a cube, like the cubic function. So it's going to look like that. Something like that. Not very pretty, but it's pretty accurate. The main thing is your zeros, and just check your signs. Alright. Number 11. Polynomial with coefficients that. So it's a 3 degree. Okay. So constant coefficient, this is the last step we're going to do. Alright, so now the zeros. So it's x minus 1 times x plus 4i times x minus 4i. Alright, let's multiply the i's first. So this pretty much this property, like x minus y times x plus y is just x squared minus y squared. Alright, so it's going to be x squared minus 16i squared. And I squared is -1, so it becomes x squared minus, plus 16x. Now we're going to multiply that by a -1. Okay, so distribute everything, so it's x cubed plus 16x minus x squared minus 16. Rewrite everything, x cubed minus x squared plus 16x minus 16. Alright, a constant coefficient of 48 pretty much means this number needs to be -48. How do we turn 16 to -48? Well, multiply it by 3. So we have to multiply everything by 3. So our final answer is going to be 3x cubed minus 3x squared plus 48x minus 48. Alright, divide the polynomial. This will be easier to do by the long division. So it's not too bad. So it's 3x squared minus 10x plus 11 divided by 3x minus 4. Alright, so pretty much when you're doing this, we only care about the first thing, the first number. The first coefficient is 3x. How do we get 3x to 3x squared? When we multiply it by x. So multiply it by x. So 3x, so that gives you 3x squared minus 4x. So in regular division, you subtract. So you'd be left with -6x. Bring down the 11 plus 11. Alright, how do we get 3x to -6x? Well, multiply by -2. Multiply by -2. -6x plus 8. So now you subtract, you're left with 3. So the remainder is 3. So it's x minus 2 plus 3 over 3x minus 4. This is how you write your remainder. It's whatever's left over divided by whatever you're dividing it by. So the final answer is x minus 2 plus 3 over 3x plus 4. Alright, this one will be easier by synthetic division since the coefficient is 1. When the coefficient is just 1 of the thing you're dividing by, so it's better just to do synthetic division. Alright, so we put -2. Now you write your coefficients 1, because the coefficient of x cubed is 1. There is no x squared, so we put a 0. Of x is -4 and 3. So 3, 2, 1, 0. Yeah, so that's right. Alright, so bring down the 1. Gives you 1. Multiply by -2. -2. Add -2. Multiply. That gives you 4. Add. That gives you 0. Multiply 0 times -2 is -0. So it's 3. Alright, so now, since it started off with x cubed, this is going to be x squared. That's going to be x. And then the remainder, again, is 3 over x plus 2. Since this is our remainder, you have to divide it by whatever you divided by. We divided by x plus 2. So your final answer is x squared minus 2x plus 3 divided by x plus 2.